This sketch is from Yes, This Is Comedy #2 from the summer of '81, and it's a sketch called, I call it Joke House, which is a play on Crack House. Back then, I think Les called it Black Market Jokes. Les wrote the bit, the sketch. That's him as the dealer on the left in this makeshift warehouse. That's John Gorczyca, one of Cleveland area TV's producer-directors, playing the first customer who just wants something funny so he can have a hit. The whole sketch is a riff on jokes and comedy being the drug of choice among Louie's customers. So that's John. Now here's another guy who comes in who was a middleman who's buying jokes in bulk. He's played by Jim Hartland, who was Cleveland area TV's video tech back in the early 80s. And I got to tell you, one of the things I'm proudest of in these shows is that we got some really good performances out of non-actors. You know, the folks who worked at Cleveland area TV, their friends, other folks around the show. And Jim Hartland was a natural. Total non-actor in terms of training or experience, but he really took to it. And he had some great timing. This is Glenn Mertz, who was newly added in YTIC #2. He was a friend of ours and a performer, cohort of ours during the WBWC college radio days. A big fan of stand-up comedy and a really, really good straight man. And he plays a guy here who's sort of sheepish about buying the jokes. And the joke he read there from that book was done off the cuff. He just opened the book and read the first joke that he saw on the page. And then, of course, the payoff here is that after the cop comes in, played by Bruce Van Dyke, in our low-budget cop uniform, with, I think, a cardboard badge, he gets drugged up here by Les, who's playing Louie the dealer. The joke here, of course, at the end is that Rocky, played by Jim Hartland, who had bought the bulk jokes for his customers, comes back in because the jokes are no good, and he ends up taking his revenge on Louie in a fine comedic fashion with a joke pistol. So this is a case where, as you can see, this is actually shot using a video switcher. We didn't do this single camera. We shot this like a TV show, like a proper studio TV show. This is one case where our lack of budget and lack of sets actually worked, because the setting is supposed to look like a rundown warehouse, and that's what the actual studio we had to work with looked like on a normal basis. So we just put a ladder up against a wall and put some junk around and had some paper strewn on the table, and went with it. And the payoff here is Louie taking out a weapon. There's a lot of weapons in in the sketches that we did, now that I think about it. But anyway, this is Joke House, and it's one of the sketches that Les wrote early on. And as the series went along, Les became more and more involved from a production standpoint in terms of a producer and also as a writer. This is one of his earliest ones.